If you're anything like me, you probably find playing the Nintendo Switch 2 handheld to be extremely uncomfortable. I personally have smaller hands, so holding the system as it is, it just doesn't feel quite right. I get hand cramps, I get discomfort. So a grip is kind of a necessity for me personally when playing handheld. So when JSAUX messaged me about sending me their split protective grip case to review here on the channel, I jumped at the opportunity because I was searching for a grip for my Switch 2. And I have to say that so far, I'm really enjoying this particular grip. I really like it. However, I do have some issues with it, and we're going to talk about that all here today. Let me know in the comments below if you guys have a grip on your Switch 2, but let's get into it. So first, I just want to talk about the actual build quality of this grip because it is incredibly nice. It comes in 3 separate pieces. You have these that individually attach to the Joy-Con as well as this back plate, which is really nice because it still means that your kickstand is fully accessible. It's got a little cutout so you can still totally use your kickstand as you'd like to. And that is incredibly nice. And then these actually detach. The Joy-Cons actually click off with the case still on. And I really like this particular aspect. I find this to be incredibly nice. It just feels really good in the hand, these particular grips. And I have also tested mouse mode with this, and I have found that they are rather comfortable when using them for mouse mode because it just gives you a little extra handle to hold on to. So I do like that aspect of them as well. They're also nice and textured, so they have a good grip feel to them. It actually feels really good in the hand while you're playing them. And I have noticed that while holding this, I haven't had any issues with like hand cramping or anything like that. I do also want to shout out real quick. You probably saw the grips on here. JSAUX did also send me a handful of thumb grips for the Switch 2 Joy-Cons, which is really cool. I didn't like know they were going to send that. That was just like a little surprise in the package. So really cool there. But overall, I find the build quality to be really, really nice for this particular grip. The other thing that I do really like as well is that the back plate comes off super easily. Like if you need to take it off for any reason, it comes off really quick and it reattaches really quick. So that is another huge bonus. So the other thing I really like about this is the actual protective shell that comes with it. This clips right over top of the grip. You simply lock it into place here, clips in like that, and you have a really stable, safe way to protect your screen when you're traveling. You're able to just like throw this in a bag. That is really a nice component. However, I will note that if you take the back panel off for whatever reason, this front shell is not going to stay in place. That's just not going to connect because it needs the grooves that are built into this shell in order to actually stay in place. So that is just something to note. If you don't like the back plate and you end up taking it off, then you won't be able to use this particular shell as part of the operation here. The other nice thing with this is like, you're like, oh, well, it doesn't have a case. Well, you don't really need a case because it actually has slots in here for games. So you can just take your game and put it in here. And there you go. And they fit right in there, and you can take them on the go with you, which is super nice. This works for Switch 1, Switch 2 games. They're the same size, so that's really nice. I just had a Switch 1 game handy, so that's what I'm demonstrating with here. But that's also really nice. You don't need a case that would normally allow you to carry a bunch of games with you. You can just slot them into this and take it on the go. I really like that component. But as far as playing with this actual grip has been, it's been fantastic. I genuinely really like how it feels in the hands. Like I said earlier, when I'm using it, I don't have any of that discomfort or any cramping that I had previously when I was playing the Switch without the grip on. All of that has been resolved, making for just way better play sessions. I've genuinely been playing the Switch 2 handheld way more than I ever have in its lifetime with this grip on. I really like that. And again, the fact that these click off and you can take the whole Joy-Con off with the grip still attached is just fantastic. I really like that aspect as well. It's just all around a really solid build. Now, despite me saying that I do really like this grip, I do also have some concerns with it. The big thing is that this with the back shell on is a really tight fit in the dock. It is much tighter than it is without the back shell on. If you slot a Nintendo Switch 2 into the dock without this particular grip on, you can see that there's some wiggle room in there. You can actually see to the other side of the dock through the little crack between the Switch and the dock itself. However, with this particular grip on, you actually can't see that anymore, and it actually, you'll notice it when you slot it in. It's a tighter fit and much more difficult to get in there. And this led me to have two particular concerns regarding this grip, because it is advertised as dockable. The first concern I have is screen scratches. Because of the fact that it is such a tight fit, there's definitely a higher chance that the screen is going to make contact with the front of the dock, leading to more scratches. The other concern that I had was the potential overheating issue that the Switch would have. Because there's less open air in the dock because of the tight fit, there's a chance that the system would get hotter, causing overheating issues. But rather than just sitting here and adding this to my review without doing any further research, I actually emailed my contact at JSAUX and asked about these particular issues, and they were incredibly transparent. I just want to lay that out. They told me everything. They did not hide any information, so I really appreciate the transparency here. On the subject of the screen scratching issue, they did say that there is an increased risk of screen scratches due to the tight fit with the case on. They did say this was a potential issue, and they did highly recommend that you use a screen protector while using this particular case if you are going to dock it this way. However, regarding the overheating issue, they did say that during their internal testing with this particular product, despite there being less open air in the dock, they did say that there was a slight increase in temperature while using the grip in the dock. However, they said it wasn't a concerning level of temperature increase. It was just a slight increase. So that is at least at bay. I'm not as worried about the overheating issue, but it is still worth mentioning there is that higher risk for screen scratches if you don't have a screen protector on. So you really want to make sure you have a screen protector on if you're going to be using it this way. However, because this is 3 separate pieces, I just take the back plate off. It's so easy to remove and take on and off. I just remove the back plate entirely and just use the side grips on the Joy-Cons, and then I just dock my Switch normally, because then it docks just fine. There's no issues, no risk of screen scratching, anything like that. It comes off super easy. So that's what I've been doing, and that's my preferred way. So really, the screen scratching issue is there, but it's really a non-issue with how easily you can just take off the back plate. Another concern that people have regarding certain grips out there on the market, there were some grips that were having issues with the Joy-Cons coming off. I will say that I've had no issues with this. I mean, I'll literally hold my Switch here like this for you and give it a little shake. I mean, you can feel the normal jiggle that this has, but it's not coming apart. Like, it's not doing anything. So it's not a big concern. I haven't had any issues with this. I mean, I'll even hold it like this. Like, it's not coming off or doing anything. You can feel it give a little bit, but I mean, there's nothing's coming off here. So that is not really a particular concern with this grip, at least in my experience. I've been using it for about a week now, and I've had no issues at all with the Joy-Cons just falling off this grip. So all in all, I really like the Split Protective Case from JSAUX. I like the fact that I have the option to throw that shell over top and just take it on the go with me with some games. I like that I can just slap it in a bag that way. But the big thing that I enjoy overall is how much more comfortable handheld gaming is with this particular case. This grip is so comfortable that I mean, I've genuinely been playing a ton of handheld Switch 2. I've been playing Donkey Kong Bonanza, been playing some Madden 26. I've been playing a ton of stuff handheld because of this grip. It feels really nice in the hands. I really like the form factor. It just feels good. So as someone who doesn't like handheld play with the base Switch, I really like handheld play with this particular grip. I think this is a really solid grip that is worth picking up if that is something that you are interested in personally. It is also worth mentioning that you can purchase this in 3 different ways. First and foremost, you can buy them separately. So you can get the top shell, which covers the Switch and does all that fun stuff, or you can get the bottom shell, and this is just the grip and the back plate. That's really nice as well. You can just buy them separately. I don't really know, again, like I said, this doesn't stay in place super well without that back plate on. I've tested this a handful of times and it just doesn't stay in place really all that well. I mean, I'll show you here. I took the back plate off. You can see the back plate's off, and this just has a whole lot of give. So this isn't doing a whole lot of protecting as a standalone option. So I just want you to be aware of that particular issue. It doesn't really stay in place without the back plate. But there is the option to buy just the bottom shell, which does include the grip and the back plate for this particular system. You can, if you don't care about the top shell, if you don't think you need it to go anywhere and carry games or do anything like that, you can just get the grip, which I really like. But the full protective set is only $5 more. So if you're interested even a little bit in that protective shell, I would totally just buy the $30 one because it's only $5 more. And JSAUX does have a lot of other really cool Nintendo Switch 2 accessories. So if you are interested in the split protective case that we talked about here in this review, or any of the other JSAUX products on their website, be sure to use the affiliate link in the description below and use code Nico, because that gives me a little bit of a kickback and it would be incredibly appreciated. But that is going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments below if this grip interests you in particular. If you have any other questions about this grip, feel free to leave a comment. I will definitely answer them. But like I said, that's it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, because it helps me out, helps the video out, and helps the channel out immensely. But until next time, peace.